Me. Hi, I'm the Diligence guy. This video is inspired by CoffeeZilla. Now, I absolutely love coffee. He is one of my favorite YouTubers. And for anyone who doesn't know him, he has been, over the course of the last couple of years, one of the best voices online at uncovering rapscallions in the Web3 industry. From scams to fraud to just outright incompetence. I think some of the content that he's made is some of the very best this platform has to offer. But I also believe that while his skill and due diligence is vast, he is not capturing nearly enough of the value that he's creating. So I believe that there are many people that could use, even aside from CoffeeZilla, the baseline skill set of how to start a funnel. So this is what this video is about. I'm not trying to be Batman. I'm trying to be Alfred. And this is advice on how to turn your skill at due diligence, your skill at trading, your skill at capital formation into an actual registered entity. Why am I saying this? So, first thing you do when you're doing diligence on someone, this is something that should be clear by now for anyone who has gotten even attempted to be scammed, is that um, if somebody is telling you that they can make a bunch of money with your money, check the entity. Right? Is this somebody who's just trying to take money in their MetaMask? Um, is this somebody that has actually registered a fund? Do they have licenses? What are those licenses? Um, and from the perspective of somebody who's just been sitting at their house trading for 5, 10 years, might be really, really good at it. This whole process might seem extremely daunting. Fear not. It isn't really that hard. I mean, it's difficult, but it's absolutely achievable. Over the last 10, 15 years, there's been a lot of innovation in compliance technology. The documents on how to write a private placement memorandum are very much available online. Um, I have co-authored one or two. I'm leaving one in the comments below, and I'll be posting another one in a few weeks based on a French real estate investment fund that I co-founded with a few friends. To me, what the most important thing is to kind of take a very straightforward look at the complex thing. So, in that view, let me break down the operation of the fund in three simple steps. You have capital formation, deal flow, and due diligence. Deal flow is sometimes called origination, depending on the type of fund and the type of assets you're looking at. Regardless, capital formation is the first one. Obviously, where do you find the money? But also, what is that bank account? What form does that money take? Is it British pounds? Is it Brazilian reais? Are we in America? Are we in the Caymans? Is it a trust? Is it a Reg A, Reg D, Reg CF? So those considerations are pretty important, obviously. Um, but also, again, links in the description, there are more and more sources today to help you understand what you're looking for. Um, Baseline, what you're going to find is that um, America is very expensive to comply with in a lot of cases, but is also where so much of the money and the activity is. And now it's become a lot simpler to comply with some of these laws. For example, if you're a big YouTuber like CoffeeZilla or somebody with an audience and some quality, and what you want to do is to turn that audience into a source of capital formation, but without screwing anyone over and being ethical about the whole process. So how do you do that? Well, if your audience is exclusively wealthy people and institutional funds for some reason, that would be a Reg D. So that means you're allowed to raise pretty much unlimited capital um, from accredited investors and institutions. If you're trying to raise money from retail, that's normal people that are not worth over $1 million and make a combined household income of 300 grand or personal income of 200, um, shall we say normal people, um, you would use a Reg A plus or what's called a Reg CF. Reg CF has a limit of $5 million. Reg A plus has a limit of, I believe, somewhere in the $100 million range. So what we are trying to propose here as a system of solutions, um, I'm talking about the Web3 industry, is not a complete replacement of the regulations, but a ability to ensure technologically that there's the transparency and compliance that a lot of these funds are designed to take into account, not just because it's the rules, but because who the hell would give you money if you just said, "Hey, I'm going to put it in this black box, and I'll tell you how much I make, but I won't tell you anything that goes on in the black box." And clearly, some people do that. Most of those people lost their money. So to be good at capital formation, in part, requires a system of secure transparency. Um, the blockchain is good for that, but otherwise, there are multiple ways that you can comply with that and provide reports to your investors on a quarterly, monthly, whatever basis, um, that have demonstrable basis in fact. Second step, deal flow. So if you're a real estate fund, it's called origination, right? Where are we getting the properties? Where are we acquiring our targets? Um, for a hedge fund, that would be, let's say, like CoffeeZilla's channel, or Hindenburg Research. That would be probably a bunch of institutionals, but you could also uh, you could just look at where the institutionals are investing their money and start following them and seeing, hey, what's gotten bloated and what's a little bit problematic. You could also um, start looking at volatility and volume, right? Why is this thing trending? What is this thing? What is its value? Because ultimately, when you're running a short fund, what you're looking to do is to find something that's already at the top, right, by definition. You're trying to short it on the way down. So if it doesn't have a lot of attention, if there isn't a lot of money that's already in it, it's going to be very difficult to extract value from that kind of strategy. For a venture capital fund, deal flow is just simply entrepreneurs pitching. Now, every different thesis has a different approach to the identification and collection of targets. I like the idea of uh, somebody like CoffeeZilla starting a hedge fund because part of the power of a channel with that kind of reach is to actually move the price. So you're yourself a part of the data set, right? Like sentiment analysis would be a part of deal flow when you're trying to identify a new target, right? What's everybody talking about, and is it crap? Um, but when you have that kind of reach, and you're like, "Hey, this is crap," you would actually move the price down. Third is the name of this channel, due diligence, right? That's what I really love most because you get to really jump from field to field, from project to project, trying to get your hands dirty, understanding how the entrepreneurs themselves think, interviewing them, reviewing their writings, trying to find faults, weaknesses, and exaggerations. Um, it can be one of the most beautiful and fun fields to work on. I think in by and large, finance has a pretty bad reputation for being an unfun field to work in or just filled with people who only want to make money. Um, and I'm not saying I don't want to make money, but I want to serve. When I'm working for a fund, I'm serving my investors, my teammates. When I'm working for a startup, I'm still serving my investors and my teammates. I think it's very important to take a perspective at seeking success from a premise of service. And diligence, when done well, is in service of the overall intelligence of the company, um, and also in service of the industry, because a good investment will promote a good product. And in the case of something like a Hindenburg research, a good investment will remove some trash from the economy. That is a very useful thing. And I want to end this video on one little topic because I was a little bit annoyed seeing so many people trying to uh, gamble against Tether and other major projects that have very clear utility. Just because there are a lot of opportunities to make money on the way down doesn't mean that now in a bear market, there aren't still a lot of opportunities for things to go up. And I find that a lot of folks have been losing a ton of money by trying to short Tether to the ground. And while the whole internet sleuthing and criticizing every project under the sun can itself be fun and certainly appropriate in many cases. Um, it's also very much not appropriate to ignore all of the value that has been created by some of the largest projects in the community. Um, Chainlink is down, but extremely important as a product and important component of the ecosystem. Protocol Lab is the same thing. And Tether is an inflation shield. For a lot of people who aren't in America, does it have issues with American compliance? Sure. But if you're not in America and you're not in Europe and you're in a place that is experiencing very high inflation, um, you're also generally sitting in a domestic banking system that is preventing you from accessing US dollars, which is going to be the main source of protection from the regional inflation. Um, And Tether has been that solution for a lot of people, whether in Brazil, Argentina, many places in Southeast Asia. It's just, it's not perfect, but it works. And when it works at protecting people in Korea from a downslide of the Korean won of 30% after it's been pegged to the dollar for decades, um, that's real utility. The people who took advantage of that possibility were very grateful for the utility that they had received. So, to the extent that I'm encouraging everyone here to try to start their fund, also remember that if starting it is becoming easier, running it is still very difficult. And it requires a very good eye and very good diligence. Thank you, and good.